Hey there, Seahawks. It's Miss Adams, and in this video, we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations when there's a variable on both sides of the equal sign. All right, so first you're going to want to distribute if there's parentheses. Then we're going to want to combine like terms. Then we're going to move the variables over to one side and then solve. All right, our first example, we have 5y minus 8 equals 3y plus 12. So I'm still going to separate the two halves of my equation. All right, there's nothing for me to distribute. There's nothing on the left side for me to combine, and there's nothing on the right side for me to combine. So I'm going to go ahead and just move one of my y terms to the other side. Now, I always like to pick the smaller one to move. So 3y is smaller, so I'm going to subtract 3y to both sides. That's going to cancel. 5y minus 3y is going to give me 2y, and I'm going to bring everything else down. So I have 2y minus 8 equals 12. Now I'm trying to get y by itself, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides. That's going to cancel. I have 2y equals 12 plus 8 is 20. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and I get y equals 10. All right, the next one, I have negative 10k plus 1 equals 40 minus 7k. I'm going to divide the two parts of my equation. On the left, there's no distributing or combining like terms. On the right, there's no distributing or combining like terms, so I'm going to move one of the k terms to the other side. Well, negative 10 is smaller than negative 7, so I'm going to move the negative 10 by adding 10k to both sides. That cancels. I get 1 equals 40, and then negative 7 plus 10 would give me positive 3k. Now I want to get k by itself, so I'm going to get rid of that 40 by subtracting 40 to both sides. If I have 1 minus 40, I get negative 39. So I have negative 39 equals 3k. I want k by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I get k equals negative 13. Alright, this one, I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. On the left, I have a 3 that I need to distribute into the parentheses. So I'm going to do 3 times 6p and 3 times negative 1. 3 times 6p gives me 18p, and 3 times negative 1 gives me a negative 3. So I have 18p minus 3, and on the right side, I'm just going to bring everything down. So 11p minus 45. Now, I don't have any terms that I can combine, so I'm going to go ahead and move the 11p, which is the smaller one, to the other side. That gives me 7p minus 3 equals negative 45. I want to get p by itself, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. That gives me 7p equals negative 42. When I divide by 7, I get p equals negative 6. Alright, another example. Alright, so I'm going to distribute that 9. So 9 times m and 9 times negative 3. That's going to give me 9m. 9 times negative 3 gives me negative 27, so 9m minus 27. And then I'm going to bring all the other pieces down. On the left, I have two m terms that I can combine. So 9m plus 3m would give me 12m. So I have 12m minus 27 equals 7m plus 43. I'm going to move the 7m to the other side by subtracting. Alright, so I get 5m minus 27 equals 43. I want to get m by itself, so I'm going to move the 27 by adding 27 to both sides. I get 5m equals 70, and when I divide both sides by 5, I get m equals 14. Alright, the next one, I have negative 16 minus 7 times 2a plus 3 equals 23 minus 2a. So on the left, I'm going to distribute that negative 7. So I'm going to have negative 16, and negative 7 times 2a is going to give me negative 14a. Negative 7 times 3 is going to give me negative 21. And I'm going to bring everything on the right down. I can combine like terms. I have a negative 16 and a negative 21. Those are both constants. When I add those, I get negative 37. So I have negative 14a minus 37 equals 23 minus 2a. I want to get the a terms on one side, so I'm going to move the negative 14a by adding 14a to both sides. So I have negative 37 equals 23 plus 12a. I'm going to get the 23 out of there by subtracting it on both sides. Negative 37 minus 23 gives me negative 60. So negative 60 equals 12a. I want to get a by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 12. I get negative 5 equals a. Alright, this next one, I'm going to be distributing on both sides. So I'm going to have 5x. I'm going to distribute a negative 1. There's really a 1 after that negative sign. Negative 1 times x would give me negative x. Negative 1 times negative 18 would give me positive 18, which equals 6. And then I'm going to distribute that negative 2. Negative 2 times x would give me negative 2x. Negative 2 times 15 would give me negative 30. And then on the left, I have two x terms, so I'm going to combine those. 5x minus an x gives me 4x, so I have 4x plus 18. On the right, I have two constant terms. I'm going to combine those. 6 minus 30 gives me negative 24. So I have negative 2x minus 24. Now I want to move the smaller x to the other side. So that's a negative 2. I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I get 6x plus 18 equals negative 24. I want to get x by itself. So I'm going to have to get rid of that 18 by subtracting 18 on both sides. That gives me 6x equals negative 42. I'm going to divide both sides by 6 so I can get x by itself. And I get x equals negative 7. Alright, special cases. So I have negative 5 minus 9x equals 3 times the quantity 1 minus 3x minus 8. So I'm going to divide the two sides. I'm going to distribute that 3. So I'm going to have negative 5 minus 9x on the left. And on the right, when I distribute that 3, I'm going to get 3 minus 9x and then bring down that minus 8. I'm going to go ahead on the right and combine like terms. So I have 3 minus 8, which is going to become negative 5. So I have negative 5 minus 9x equals negative 9x minus 5. I'm going to get the x terms on one side. So I'm going to add 9x to both sides. And those both cancel. So now I'm left with negative 5 equals negative 5. Well, that's a true statement. Negative 5 does equal negative 5. So that means I can have infinitely many solutions. It doesn't matter what value I plug in for x. Any of them would work. Okay. The next one, I'm going to go ahead and divide my two parts. Distribute that negative 4. So that's going to give me negative 8x minus 4, which is equal to negative 8x minus 2. If I move the 8x's, so I add 8x to both sides, they both cancel. That leaves me with negative 4 equals negative 2. Well, that is not true. Negative 4 does not equal negative 2. So then this is no solution.